Hello everyone and welcome to WWE Discussion. I'm your host and WWE enthusiast Doug. In today's episode I'm going to be discussing Friday Night Smackdown September 8th, 2023 episode. And 1 week after her return, Charlotte Flair would team with Shotzi to battle Bayley and the Women's Champion Io Sky. So the tag team match ultimately didn't amount to much, but the post-match confrontation between Io Sky and Asuka, now that was the real story right there. And in 2 weeks time those two will collide for the Women's World Title. The Women's Division Showdown was one of 3 matches announced ahead of time for the broadcast, which also included Jimmy Uso and AJ Styles in the main event, and a blue brand appearance from the new tag team champions, the Judgment Day. And with that, we're going to get right into the action, starting with LA Knight vs. Austin Theory, a good, solid pro wrestling match, serving its purpose of putting Knight over and introducing 2 new opponents for him to spar with in the coming weeks. Theory and Waller work great together, and putting them opposite Knight will do 2 things. 1, help the popularity of the megastar, and 2, earn more heat and television time for Theory and Waller. Now, Knight currently at a 2-2-1 disadvantage, but here's an interesting idea. What if John Cena, during his SmackDown tour that he's doing, what if he decides to step in the ring one time, and what if that one time he steps in the ring is teaming with LA Knight to take on Theory and Waller? Certainly could be an interesting combo, an interesting tag team match. I don't think Cena has much left to offer in terms of singles matches, but you put him in a tag team match, might be better for him. Might be a better way to utilize him, since he kind of struggled in his last singles match against Theory. Not to say that he can't compete in singles action, but Cena's talked about it himself, that he doesn't feel like he has much time left in the ring. So maybe a tag team match might be a good way to kind of help him out there. Butch and Ridge Holland versus Damian Priest and Finn Balor. So Priest and Balor would earn the win, defeating their opponents decisively and fairly. Midway through the match, the cameras appear backstage were Pretty Dudley making their first appearance on camera since Elton Prince was injured a few months back. While watching the match, it was Holland that injured Elton in their last match together. So expect a feud between Pretty Deadly and the Brawling Brutes to resume once Prince is cleared for action. As for a matchup that we won't have to wait for, Judgment Day versus the rebooted Hurt Business. So Lashley and the Street Profits would hit the ring after the match and warn the tag team champions that it will be him and his teammates that dominate WWE, not Judgment Day. And in terms of a high-profile feud to help Lashley, Ford, and Dawkins build momentum as a trio, there are far worse options to pair them with than the Uber over Judgment Day. So great stuff with a tease of an upcoming program that fans can get excited about. I know I'm certainly excited about seeing Judgment Day clash with Lashley and the Street Profits, although it would be quite curious to see who would get the win between these 2 trios. But I guess it all comes down to how WWE builds it up. And then the main event, AJ Styles versus Jimmy Uso. So Jimmy Uso once again could not get out of his own way. He has this desire to rejoin the bloodline and promised to Paul Heyman that he would prove himself. However, he failed to do that and proceeded to lose to AJ Styles. Now, while that thread or that story will be an important one in the coming weeks, so too will be what seems like faction warfare between the Bloodline and Judgment Day, as teased twice on the show. After Styles' victory, Priest and Balor would attack Styles and then offer him up to Solo Sikoa. Now, certainly a curious thing right there. Is Judgment Day looking to go collide with the Bloodline, or are they looking to team with the Bloodline? Teaming with them would really make more sense. Faction warfare would make more sense, and it's possible that WWE could be headed in that direction. And also, when you think about it, Priest is teaming over Money in the Bank, so cashing in on Roman Reigns is also an option for Priest. He has Rollins and he has Reigns, and we've seen the attempts from Priest to cash in on Rollins, but we haven't seen Priest and Reigns interact, or Priest attempt to or think about cashing in on Reigns. So faction warfare could be coming up. It would make more sense for the Judgment Day to want to fight the Bloodline rather than work with them. Whatever the case is, wherever WWE's going with this, including with the OC, I don't know why why there's this whole infighting between Styles and the OC. I mean, granted, Styles does raise a valid point about, where is the OC at when he feels like he needs them. So hopefully they have some sort of reconciling moment and get back on track, because WWE hasn't done enough with the OC as a trio. So for them to split them would kind of just be a waste. But whatever the case, intriguing way to end the show, and one that should create some buzz and interest in what happens next. So in conclusion, Friday's show was an in-ring heavy episode with 3 matches getting multiple segments of television time. All 3 of those matches were on a scale from good to very good, making the most of their minutes. Throw in some key storyline developments and teases of new feud, including what might be the first look at LA Knight versus the Bloodline. He did have that low backstage interaction with Paul Heyman. And you have a show on the surface might have looked uninspiring, lethargic, but may have very well set up future programs to carry the company through the rest of the year and into the all-important WrestleMania season. Who knows if that's actually how long WWE plans on dragging things out, but long-term booking never hurt anybody, so long as you can keep people invested. And with that, we'll go and wrap up this episode of WWE Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.